but we just didn't get that move. Now, hey everybody, hope you had a great trading day. There is a lot to go over. Let's start here. Please subscribe to the channel, click all notifications, because what we go over here is timely and you do not want to miss it, especially right now. So what we're dealing with tonight is we're dealing with Disney, and we're going to look at this pre and post and kind of see where you're at. Okay. So you come down, you've already rallied pretty precipitously. Earnings were really good. They're rolling out their streaming service of an ad revenue model, very similar to Netflix. And we're going to talk about Netflix in a moment. But what I really want to focus on with something like this is just watch these old levels, these 129.32, this 122.08. These levels have been there for some time. You know, I think it's great that the stock's moving and you're starting to turn. I think it's a really good sign for a lot of the, the larger conglomerate kind of names. But you're getting a little frothy here, so maybe you're going to have a big push and then kind of roll again. But these are the levels that I would watch. After hours, you have a little bit of a move. You tried to get over that first 15-minute bar, as we talk about all the time. Watch the first 15 minutes of after hours trading and you get a sense of it. And right now you popped over a little bit. I'm assuming this is just, a misprint. And now you're trying to get over, but you're not really able to, are you? So you're going to kind of want to watch that level. And I'd be watching this 1945 level. These levels are there and they work. I'll give you a great example. Like, look at this UPST. So this was one that we did the other day in the trading room. Here was the short, got right to it, boom, broke right down, bearish harami. If you get rid of all this stuff, you can see it traded all the way back down. But once you know where these levels are, when you see these little anomalies that are spiking up, you know that these are prior resistance levels. So you can kind of get a sense of them. And then once you flip them, of course, you know to be out. But the question is, what do you do now with something like Disney? If you're looking after hours, I think you kind of have to wait for this to settle itself down. Now, I don't really view this as the best news for Netflix that Disney is ahead of them and Disney is rolling out their subscription, ad-free subscription model. Now, we are into this bar, which is good. So you are in, right? So let's clear all this out and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. You are in right here, okay? So once you get up and through this, you're in the bar. Right? So there's no resistance really in this bar here. I'll show you what I mean by looking at volume by price. Let's click off of these. So what you're going to see is once you're in that bar, right? This all goes away. See how it all dries up? Once you're through that bar, there's nothing here. So really the level that you want to watch is you just want to wait until you get above that. Now that level is going to be 248.70. Now, if you push on Disney tomorrow, that's going to be really interesting because it really should be viewing it as a competitor. So it shouldn't do that. If it does, you're definitely going to want to pay attention to it. So stay to the end because we're going to go through the indexes in pretty good detail on what's going on out there. But we should probably talk about the SPY just for a second as we get into the next name. But you see what's going on right here? See how you're popping over? This was a much better close than we started with today. You had a lot of these dojis and you were pushing. To me, it did not look great off the open. You kind of just like we're hanging out there. I'm not overly convinced on this, and it is solid, and I've been pretty bullish. My concern is that I didn't really see that big, long green bar. I have this short bar and PPIs tomorrow. Now, PPI is the producer price index. The producer price index, of course, is important. You can see how you're through the cloud just like you were last time up here. I'll link that cloud video at the end so you can understand how to use it. Why am I spending time on this before I get to the next name? Because I wanted to see a really big push, and I didn't really get my really big push. I didn't even get average daily volume for the past 20 days. So on a CPI number that was really, really solid, I didn't get that. This market has had a real strong way of triggering to get us in and then rejecting. So, and I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but I would rather wait for a higher high in confirmation. The time to add was a little bit earlier. We added to some names in the trading room yesterday, a little LABU, a little Tesla. We're just fortunate today with the Tesla news, frankly, that Elon's done selling. But the other names that we're in, I think if you don't get the newsletter, there's a free version below, link in description. There's like 15 names that were long right now that are in there. So, this is when you sell into that, when everybody else is buying, right? But I want to talk about this because what you need to do is you need to focus on the names that are breaking out. This is one that's in the newsletter. And you have to focus on what's breaking out and what's hitting highs as we're going higher that are part of that index. People are buying Apple because they know a couple things. One, we've already come out with earnings. Two, they were good. Three, they talked about it accelerating. These are the kinds of names you have to look at. it's very possible for Apple to be hitting new highs and the market to not be anywhere near there. So I'll just say that again. It's very possible for this to be hitting new highs and the market to be nowhere near there. You're $12 off a high. I mean, we're 10% off that range right now. It's nothing. So these are the kinds of names you need to be looking at. You know, you formed a flag, then you broke out. These setups are beautiful, okay? This was something I tried to play a little earlier before earnings and was just unable to. But this is telling you exactly where you need to be and exactly where your stop is, okay? Your stop would be, just watch that bar. I mean, it's pretty clear how to trade that position. To me, it is just by looking at it. So I would look at these, and then why am I showing you this? Because you have to look at where the money is going, and the money's diversifying out. This is XLK. This is 40% of the S&P. I'm sorry. This is XLK. This is the technology sector. 40% of the technology sector is Apple and Microsoft. Each one's like 21, 22%. So that's the weighting. XLK is not 40% of the SPY. So been a long day. So when you see how you're breaking out here, right, you can kind of drill into and go, oh, I wonder what other groups are going out or heading out there, right? And you can kind of see over here, yeah, this did okay today, right? It did okay, it held, but we had a huge move in this already. We've been in this since 67 and the LABU since, I think we started down here in the 4s. So as we push, this is not going to stop, but you are diversifying out. And that's the point that I'm getting at. You are seeing money go into different sectors. And I would pay attention to that. I think that's really important to understand. And I would be looking at names like Microsoft, Apple. Go to places where you're seeing huge surges in possible volume and you have huge pockets of liquidity. Because if funds start chasing, you're not going to just chase the AEHRs of the world, which do look great. I mean, this stock obviously looks great, but you're not going to really chase this, right? I mean, it's a $20 stock. You're trading 2 million. Like, no institution can really pile in there. If you're looking at playing an index, you might want to look at this. IWM looks the strongest of all of them. You're over the higher high. You weren't there with the Qs at all, right? So you should be really focused on the index. It's one big trade right now. If you can take a look at this and see how you popped over, okay? Look at that. No other index has really done that. The SPY kind of did, but not with not really an emphatic move. And that's what you're looking for. Where's my volume? Right? I just don't have that big volume on this move. I should have had a huge volume day on a CPI that was that dramatic. We knew it might be lower. We went over it in Saturday's video, but we just didn't get that move. Now, other sector that I would really start focusing on are software. Take a look at names like Net, right? We've been playing with this one for a little bit since earnings. The earnings were fantastic. Came down 2 days before CPI, profit taking, breaking out today. Okay, so you're seeing names like that push higher. Net's going to keep doing it. We had TTD last night. And this is what you want to see. Look at this volume, okay? Look at this bar. These are the kinds of names you want to be looking at. Okay? These are the kinds of names that are going to keep grinding higher, right? So what you do is just kind of here, look at your relative volume, and you'll see that it is absolutely off the chart, okay? So you don't have to be first in, right? You just don't have to be that person, especially in this market. Let this set itself up. As it sets itself up, you're trying to stay in these. Remember, we're also used to day trading and making little bits of money because we've been hitting singles. That we don't believe that we can buy something here, wait for it to break out, form a flag, and then go and make real money. Right? We're all trying to make $2 on a trade before we lose $1. That's not how you're going to be successful. You're going to make a little bit of money doing that over and over again, and then eventually you're going to take a big hit. What you're trying to do is get in, build positions, and hang in those positions. That's how you're going to accumulate and outperform everybody. That's what people that have been trading for a very long period of time do. They add to their winners as their winners go up. This is definitely something that should be on everybody's radar, but that is one sector that I would definitely look at. And I have a value idea I'm going to throw by people in a moment. Here's cloud computing. You see how that's breaking out and looks phenomenal. We have to go through the VIX, but I do want to bring this up. This is SRG, and this is one we've been in the newsletter for some time. They had earnings last night. The company's up for sale, and I just want to point this out. The book value, and you can go run your own book value numbers, was $17.75. I would argue with the new leases and everything that it's actually probably higher now, and they have purposely gone out there and said, we're either going to liquidate the assets or we're going to sell the company. Now, what's so fascinating to me about that is book value is $17.75 right now, and it's very hard to fake book value of a REIT, because they're hard assets. So this probably has some more room to go with it. Again, we were in a little cheaper, but I still think that there's some room for this to go. And finally, I just want to wrap with this and why I do think that this is good and that we can still keep going higher. I just want confirmation before committing new capital. So I just want to focus on names like this, right? The VIX, why? Volatility index. They're not buying puts anymore. I highlighted this and put it on Twitter. See this box? This was the last time you were below the 20. You've not been below the 20 since April 5th. So that's really important to understand that you're breaking that level and you're breaking that trend line. What we want to see is a follow-through day tomorrow, and then we basically have what we want to see, and we can kind of go from there. So just watch this really closely, because if this breaks and you start heading to this level, okay, this 1845, you're going to have to see people start putting money to work. Okay, larger funds are going to have to buy equities as the VIX drops. They really just don't have a choice, the way some of their charters are set up. So keep that in mind. I know I threw a lot at you. I know it was very spread out tonight, but there's a lot to go over, especially with that CPI number. So get ready for tomorrow. Get through PPI 8:30 a.m. and then we'll be ready to go. Everybody have a great evening. If you're interested in looking at the trading room, there'll be a link to preview it right here in the top right corner. Trade to win tomorrow.